Welcome to Cost Down Consulting's presentation, Why Driver Managers Underperform and What You Can Do About It. My name is Joe White and my company is Cost Down Consulting. I'll begin by explaining why most driver managers underperform. If you take an objective look at a driver manager's scope of responsibility, you'll realize that they have a huge impact on profitability. A typical driver manager manages 30-plus employees, makes routing decisions for 2 to 4 million miles, has control of $2 to $6 million of revenue, and manages $2 to $5 million of variable costs. Each driver manager makes literally hundreds of decisions a week that influence a trucking company's bottom line. For example, a driver manager with load planning responsibility influences a trucking company's deadhead percentage, revenue per mile, and cost per mile performance. Driver manager responsibilities vary between trucking companies and trucking company types, but most driver managers have at least one of the responsibilities listed on this slide. To answer the question, why do driver managers underperform? Let's take our discussion outside of the trucking industry for a minute. Consider a small to medium-sized business in another industry. Managing that business is an executive that typically has the title President or CEO or General Manager. That executive is responsible for employee performance, equipment utilization, customer service, cost control, and delivering a profit to the organization. Now, let's return to the trucking industry. Those responsibilities we listed for our executive of a non-trucking company are the same responsibilities we assign to driver managers. Like our executive example, driver managers are responsible for employee performance, equipment utilization, customer service, cost control, and profitable operations. The executive of our non-trucking company will most likely have the following qualifications: a BA in business or perhaps a MBA, prior P&L experience, prior management experience, and financial training. He or she will most likely make at least $90,000 a year. Now look at typical driver manager qualifications: a high school graduate, no prior P&L experience, maybe some supervisory experience, and probably no financial training. Regarding pay, driver managers make about half of what executives in other industries do for the same level of responsibility. This qualifications gap is the reason driver managers underperform. Trucking companies assign driver managers executive-level responsibilities even though they do not have the qualifications or training needed to effectively manage those responsibilities. The reason trucking companies place lesser qualified employees in what is essentially an executive position is because of the amount of wages paid for that position. Trucking companies, as a rule, have historically thin margins and cannot afford to pay wages that will attract executive-level qualifications. So what can trucking company executives do to improve driver manager performance? How can they bridge the qualifications gap? The solution for bridging the qualifications gap and improving driver manager performance and company profitability involves three specific components: defining best activities, putting in place a KPI program complete with financial incentives, and driver manager training. We will discuss each of these activities, beginning with defining best activities. Defining best activities involves determining the best step-by-step processes for improving performance in specific critical success areas managed by driver managers. Once determined, these are the processes all driver managers should use when managing that particular critical success area. Let's look at a simplified example to understand the concept of defining best activities. In our example, we'll use a bulk tank trucking company defining the best activities for assigning loads with the goals of maximizing daily gallons hauled and minimizing operating costs. This particular company has a fleet with several different hauling capacities and different MPG ratings due to mixed tractor models and ages. Step 1 of our defined activities is to look at each driver's available hours. We obviously have to match available hours to projected run times to maximize driver productivity and daily gallons hauled. Step 2 is to assign highest capacity equipment to the longest runs. If, for example, our highest capacity equipment averages 4% more capacity per load than other tankers, every 25 loads hauled with highest capacity equipment will equal 26 loads on the other equipment. We want the load we eliminate to be the most costly, so we therefore assign the longest runs to highest capacity equipment. Step 3 is to assign highest MPG equipment to longest runs. Our example trucking company has 10 high-capacity tankers with the same hauling capacity but different makes and models of tractors. The 10 longest loads of the day will be assigned to this equipment per step 2 of our defined activities. In addition, the longest loads of these 10 will be assigned to the highest MPG equipment to minimize fuel cost. Finally, step 4 is to marry load assignments. We want to match lengths of haul from our group of loads to make sure we maximize every driver's daily productivity. For example, we may have one driver dispatched on one long load and one short load that combined will take a full 10 hours, while another driver may have two short and a medium length load assigned. Defining best activities helps bridge the qualifications gap by eliminating the need for driver managers to analyze operations and develop their own processes. If they simply follow defined step-by-step instructions, the best results will be achieved. Developing best activities begins by analyzing trucking operations to determine how current profitability influences are being managed. For example, determining how driver productivity is currently being managed by the driver managers. As you analyze operations, you will most likely find bad processes and other obstacles that need to be fixed. Sticking with our driver productivity example, you may realize that your current system of paying drivers hourly hurts productivity as a 10-hour shift pays the same regardless of how hard a driver works. As a solution, you may put in place an overlap pay system where drivers receive the higher of hourly pay or incentive pay based on miles, revenue, gallons, or some other metric representative of your operations. Finally, you want to learn from top performers what the best activities are. For example, driver managers most successful with driver productivity may use specific processes that should be used by all driver managers. Defining best activities is a lot of work. It takes time to audit operations, fix bad processes, and identify top performers and their success activities. However, once defined activities are in place, your driver managers will have step-by-step guidelines that allow them to overcome many of the qualification shortfalls discussed earlier. KPIs and financial incentives are part of the Bridging the Qualifications Gap solution. The concept is simple. Provide performance goals for driver managers. If they make those goals, company profitability increases, and a portion of that profitability is used to pay driver managers bonuses. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicators, which are simply measures of the critical success areas of a trucking company, such as deadhead percentage, gallons per truck, etc. Within each KPI, baselines are calculated and performance goals are developed that represent improvements over the baseline. In this example, our baseline for monthly miles per driver is 8,322 miles. Our quarter one performance target is 8,450 miles. Our quarter two target is 8,550 miles, and so on. As you can see, we have 4 KPIs in this example: monthly miles per driver, MPG, revenue per truck per month, and deadhead percentage. Each KPI has performance goals that increase quarter over quarter. Once your KPIs are established, you want to forecast the profit impact of making your goals. In this table, the annualized profit impact is listed under each quarter's KPI. Using monthly miles per driver as our example, if we improve from our baseline of 8,322 miles per month to our quarter one goal of 8,450 miles and operated at that higher level for a full year, the profit impact would be $70,000. If we made our quarter four goal of 8,950 miles, the annual profit impact would be $245,600. When goals are made, company profitability increases, providing the opportunity to pay driver managers more in the form of a performance bonus. This is an opportunity to at least partially bridge the wage gap discussed earlier, while providing motivation from driver managers to work harder and smarter. In this example, a driver manager making $40,000 per year made 3 of 4 performance targets for quarter two and received $1,125 in bonus. That same performance each quarter would net a driver manager $4,500 in additional pay, an 11.25% increase over base pay, funded entirely by improved performance and profitability. The final piece to our Bridge the Qualifications Gap solution is driver manager training. We've already discussed 2 subjects that need to be included in that training. The first is the best activities we defined and any new processes and programs developed to eliminate performance obstacles. The second is our KPI program in supporting bonus opportunity. 2 other subjects should also be included in our driver manager training: financial and driver management fundamentals. As mentioned earlier, driver managers make hundreds of decisions a week that influence profitability, but without the benefit of the education and experience of a seasoned executive. That gap often results in decisions that are not bottom-line friendly. The 2 areas that are most influenced by that gap are financial decision-making and managing driver productivity. While it is not possible to instantaneously provide driver managers with an MBA or leadership experience, they can be taught the skills they need to significantly improve decision-making through training on the fundamentals of financial and driver manager techniques. For example, explaining the concept of variable cost and demonstrating that your company's $1 variable cost per mile means that every 50 miles they deadhead a driver costs $50 will influence their decisions going forward. Financial and driver management training does not have to be extensive. It simply has to be focused to provide the knowledge and skills required to manage the operational areas your particular driver managers are entrusted with. Defined activities in driver manager training are qualification equalizers. They provide laser-focused directions and education for your driver manager areas of responsibility. Of course, defined activities and training will not provide your driver managers with the education or experience level of a seasoned executive. They will, however, provide the specific direction, knowledge, and skills driver managers need to make executive quality decisions for their assigned responsibilities. A KPI program, based on financial incentives, provides performance goals and motivation to support improvements in driver-manager performance and company profitability. The bonus opportunity afforded driver managers offers them the opportunity to at least partially bridge the wage gap. Let's do a quick review. Driver managers have a significant impact on your profitability. They make literally hundreds of decisions weekly that affect your critical success areas. Driver managers have the same responsibilities as many high-level executives in other industries. They do not, however, have the same skill set. There is a large qualifications gap between driver managers and non-trucking executives that have a similar scope of responsibility. There is a way to bridge the qualification gap. By defining best activities, putting in place a KPI program complete with financial incentives, and providing driver managers with focused training, trucking companies can give their driver managers the tools, direction, training, and financial incentive required to make executive quality decisions and improve the bottom line. Thank you for watching our presentation, Why Driver Managers Underperform and What You Can Do About It. My name is Joe White and my company is Cost Down Consulting. Please feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions. Thank you.